First off, hey, welcome. Brett Graves, right-handed pitcher out of Missouri, played for the Newport Gulls in 2012 and 2013. Hey, thank you so much for taking some time for us here. I know you're busy. Just welcomed you and your wife, welcomed a baby boy just about a year ago at this point. Still in the Miami Marlins organization, played in the bigs already in your career. So again, appreciate it. I know you're still very much involved in a couple other ventures as well. So thank you for taking the time for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'll say that I'll lead this off and say that I've told numerous people that my 2 seasons that you just mentioned in Newport were probably two of the best summers of baseball I've had my whole life. So I'm pretty thankful for that place.
Wow, that's a pretty bold statement considering your career in baseball. So thank you very much. They were extremely memorable seasons for the organization as well. Your first season, specifically 2012, team goes on to win the NECBL championship. You were ranked as the number one summer ball team in the country by Perfect Game. You just completed your first collegiate season at Mizzou. How was that transition coming into a team that had the amount of firepower that you guys did? And overall, how was your first summer here in Newport?
Yeah, that was my freshman year at Mizzou, and I was coming off a year. It was definitely a learning curve year for me. Getting thrown into to just the Division I college atmosphere and everything. So I felt like that summer was a huge eye-opening experience for me, and really a good developmental year for me. That year I was kind of back and forth at Mizzou, and started a little bit, was out of the bullpen a little bit, and really didn't have that great of a season. Had some games that got sideways on me. So I go to Newport, and that year, and just being around all those guys, being around that coaching staff, and just that environment, was really conducive for development. And I think that's a lot of the guys' like main focus with summer ball, to play and win and compete, and develop all those skills, but then also, to physically develop. And, I went on the next year, my sophomore season, and was a Saturday starter, the number 2 starter on our team, and thought I took a really big step forward. Built a ton of confidence, came back with with some refined pitches, and really just was further learning who I was as a pitcher, and that's all you can really ask for in that state.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And it showed when you returned here to Newport. I mean, I guess even before you got back here, what was some of the thought process as you were experiencing success at the college level into coming? Did you want to come back to Newport? Was that a conversation you had with your coaches, with the Gulls here? How did that come about to return? Because I'm sure you were getting calls from the Cape and throughout the NECBL and some of the other leagues in the country.
Yeah. My after I left my freshman year, left the Gulls after that summer after my freshman year. Like you said, we won that championship. We had a phenomenal year, a phenomenal team, and I had a pretty good relationship with Chuck, and he was awesome, man. And I don't know that I've ever met anybody that doesn't like Chuck, So he was extremely welcoming to me, and provided an awesome environment for all of us to want to be there, to grow and develop and play and win and everything, So when I left there, he said, hey, you got a spot back if you wanted to come back, and I took that my sophomore year and ran with it, and really didn't look back after that.
Well, I mean, and when you got back, obviously didn't look back at all. I mean, you were lights out that whole season there. I mean, had a 1 ERA. I mean, you were striking batters out at a ridiculous pace. I mean, 4-0 and all-star. How was that jump and then returning for summer ball and your experience as a whole prepare you for that next step, being selected by Oakland in the 3rd round there? How were those first couple seasons? What was something that maybe you didn't expect once you got to summer ball? I mean, once you got to pro ball, and how did summer ball prepare you for it?
Yeah. Hey, the college environment is just very, very different. I think the closest thing to professional baseball environment where, you don't really have anybody holding your hand, like you're expected to act like adults, and in a college environment, um, I think that summer, specifically the 2 summers that I had in Newport, was the closest environment to a professional baseball environment that I had ever been in, up until that point. So you had mentioned my season, and kind of how it improved, my stock, or whatever you want to call it. I look at my freshman season, where it was an extremely big, like, developmental year for me. And then, I rolled that over into my sophomore year at Mizzou, came back my sophomore summer, and that was a big, put put my name, out there kind of summer for me, like improve my draft stock, and continuing to develop. I think as a baseball player, whether you're 19 years old and that season that I was in, or 27 like I am now, the focus has always got to be on what can I do to get better. But I went my sophomore year and was able to perform well there, and took our team all the way to the finals that year too. Losing in the last game of the finals there. It was actually I still talk about it with a couple of buddies that that week of the finals was the same week that my school started at Mizzou. So I legitimately pitched on Monday and got in the car Tuesday morning. Drove 20-something hours straight back, and 2 days worth of a drive, and then school started on Thursday again. So it was crazy, but I mean, that just speaks to how much I enjoyed being in Newport, and I wanted every last minute, to be in Newport that I could. Those 2 summers kind of leading into professional baseball for me, every step of the way has had a learning curve for me that, as everybody has to go through. And I think that, just that environment that Coach Coombs and the staff there presented was a very, the expectation to come in and, like, work hard and compete and be ready when the game started. But the expectation was that your work that you need to get done, is up to you. And so just that environment with, a little bit of flexibility, fluidity, it gave a lot of power to the players, to a lot of responsibility to the players. And you can tell all the guys there, though, they're also extremely dedicated and hardworking, that, those group of guys in an environment like that, where it's not so strict, it's not so tight, actually made everybody better. I think it also allowed everybody to play a little bit more loose, and we all kind of pushed each other to get better. And I absolutely think that I benefited from it.
I mean, absolutely. It shows to where you've taken your career. I mean, even some of your teammates, and you touched upon it a little bit, just that environment and the pro environment that you guys were in. I mean, there's some serious ball players that were on that roster that you shared the field with. You still stay in touch with some of those guys? I mean, obviously, Daniel Wright getting to the show, Austin Slater having tremendous success this season, and for the past couple seasons. Any other guys that you're still tight with, that you still talk to today about maybe even Newport or what have you?
Yeah, definitely. A handful of guys, actually. And it's amazing how, especially playing there 2 years, how many more guys I've run into just as I've continued to play, and every time, like, I come across some of those guys, we spend a while catching up. Kyle Hart just made his debut for the Red Sox this past year. We played together on that team in 2012 that you're talking about. And we've been hunting a little bit before too. So I like to hunt my free time. So does he. That was a big thing when we were playing together that, that we hit it off on. So we were able to connect, after the fact to get to go hunting a little bit. And I mean, pretty much Darren Gillies was another guy on that team that I've seen and played against and talked to. There's probably Ryan Halstead. He's another one, especially the pitchers, because I spent a ton of time sitting there in the bullpen or whatever on days that you're not pitching, talking and getting to know those guys. But yeah, especially as many guys that were on those two teams, for getting to play there 2 years, and as many quality guys that were there that went on to play professional baseball. I've come across numerous guys, over the past couple of years still playing. Yeah.
I mean, and you're very much still playing. I mean, you just spent a full season. You got taken in that the Rule 5 draft back in December 2017, obviously with Oakland, who drafted you, and then you heard your name called in the Rule 5. The days leading up to that, or right around that draft, I mean, did you know what was happening? You speaking with your agent, hey, they're going to take you in this year? Because, I mean, just like many baseball players, obviously what the Rule 5 is tentatively, but were you aware exactly what that meant for your career and that what was going to be happening that next season with Miami?
Yeah, it's a pretty extensive process, and I won't lie, I'm actually still to this day learning new things about what all it takes and what all that goes into it. It's pretty complex, but as far as like the actual picking and selection, when it was going on, it's not really like the amateur draft, the
Yeah.
first year draft. I knew that I was eligible for it,
Mm-hmm.
but so few guys get taken in every year that it's not something that you go into ever, I think, expecting to get taken.
Sure,
So all
sure.
the days leading up to it, it wasn't like some big, oh, this is coming up, like a real like build up of, anxious, energy, whatever for it. But then, obviously, a pretty busy couple of days afterwards, and it provided a good opportunity for me, to kind of get my feet wet in the big leagues, and I think as far as like, you know, opening my eyes and experience to the big leagues and what it takes to be successful at that level, to get to play against, guys that pretty much idolized for a long time, and get to work with guys, side by side, really zeroed me in on who I am as a pitcher, like what I need to do to be successful at that level. So then I was able to kind of take that and apply that to my game. The past year when I was in the minor leagues, the Rule 5 contingencies, that year is that I had to stay in the big leagues the whole year.
Yep.
Otherwise, they would have had to give me back to Oakland. So I stayed with Miami in 2018, and in 2019, I took my journey back kind of through the minor leagues, and I was able to have the best season that I've had ever, in pro ball at least. I don't think I'll ever top that sophomore year in Newport. But yeah, I had a
Never say
role
never.
shift. Yeah, I had a role shift and kind of pitched more in like the seventh, eighth, and a couple ninth inning appearances. I saw my velocity go up, and my strikeouts go up, and my batting average against go way down. So just honing in on who I am as a pitcher, learning how to use the stuff that I have to its uh, you know best capabilities, and just continuing to develop some of those finer nuances of the games that really in all reality you don't get exposed to until you get to the major league level, when everybody is at that same level of talent. It's the best players in the world, and it's just such a small minute difference on success and failure that you really have to hone in on what your edge is and use it to its best advantages.
For all you aspiring ball players out there, I mean, this is a major league pitcher saying the age old saying it's hard to get to the top, but it's even harder to stay there. So you're always developing, and you're always working, never getting complacent. Unfortunately, due to the coronavirus pandemic, spring training was cut short. The season was also shortened, so you might have to wait till 2021 to get back to the bigs in this new role that you've begun to succeed in. Since the shutdown, how have you been able to continue to work on your craft, improve, stay ready in order to make an impact when your time with the Marlins organization does resume, whenever that may be?
It really just involved a ton of what can I accomplish at home the best I can during the peak of that shutdown time.
Mhm.
And and my mentality throughout all that was that I was going to attack this the best way that I could, because this is affecting everybody. It's not like I'm stuck at home and everybody else is out
Sure.
playing. So it's just this is the opportunity at hand, and what do I need to do to make the most out of it. And then as everything kind of started opening back up, and we were able to get together with guys in our area, we started doing a little bit more like live at bat kind of stuff, and trying to stay as close to an in-season schedule as I possibly could to make the most out of the year.
Mhm.
With a little bit of creativity in some areas, just because it's not in season, but it's also not like off season time. Uh, just more of just like lifting and playing catch. So I've been trying to do some more stuff where it's like, you know, hitter versus pitcher, like live at bat type of stuff. We don't have enough guys for like defense or anything like that. But as far as like executing pitches, working on my arm strength, working on my overall body strength, especially since June, when everything was really like opening back up, and we still have our like precautions and protocols that everybody is abiding by, but we're trying to just salvage as much of the year as we can, because the only thing we can do is take the situation for what it is, understand like what's going on, and make the absolute most of it, so that we can all be ready for that next opportunity whenever it comes. Because at the end of the day, the next opportunities come in, and whoever makes the most out of this time is where those opportunities are going to lead you. Down the road, it's all going to be what you make of this time. So I've just been trying to tackle that with as much energy and enthusiasm as I can, because there's just no use in crying over spilled milk. You know what I mean? So
No, you're spot on. You really can't. That's a great perspective for life itself, not only baseball, and it's also a smooth segue into my final question here before I let you go. Perspective sports. I'm flashing some of the pictures on the screen right now. Can you tell us? Can you give us some insight into some of the creative things you've been working on in conjunction with playing ball? The previously mentioned perspective sports, some hunting, your full count, full draw. You've got some really quality social media content out there. So let the people know some more about it. I mean, because I love it. They'll definitely want to follow along.
for all the sports fans out there, what I've been doing this past year is I've started two new video series through my new training brand. You mentioned it, it's Perspective Sports,
Yep.
and whole brand centered around what it's mine and other people's perspective of what sports looks like at the next level. And it's very training and development based, so that it can provide information and inspiration for people to kind of take and apply to their game. But I think it's also good for this just the general fan to kind of see what guys and athletes are up to, whether it's a fan of sports, and they just want to see more of like what the lifestyle looks like, or if it's a young player that's looking for some stuff that they can implement, what they should be doing in a shutdown time like this too. So just trying to help just leave the sports world better than I found it. I don't have I don't have some big scheme of a plan with this. It's just kind of to help give a visual on what's going on. And then another video series is not as baseball specific, but it's all sports, it's all athletes, and what athletes at the next level of sports do to train and be successful for the highest level. So they're all professional athletes, and they're different training methods. Basically, they're different development methods. The one specifically about me is just kind of like a semi-live sports documentary, if you will. It's just kind of like wherever I'm at, it's kind of popping up and giving some insight on what's been going on.
Hey, I growing up, I used to love watching that stuff day in the life, because that's what every kid dreams of, is being in that life. So I'll let you get back to on that note, I'll let you get back to your life. I know you're running around some training sessions. Brett Graves, thank you so much taking some time here. Really appreciate it. Hopefully we can catch up with you soon. Good luck again. Congratulations to you and your wife on the new house, on welcoming baby boy into the family, and all the health and happiness to you guys as we continue to move through 2020 here.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. Brett Graves, thank you. Bye-bye.